Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel. I'm a general physician. I'm not a radiologist, but I'll try to share the knowledge what I've gathered with you so that you can identify some of the common conditions, abnormality on an X-ray chest. So we'll be discussing on an X-ray chest one part of it, that is the position of trachea, diaphragm, costophrenic angles, etc. So in today's topic, we'll be discussing position of trachea, angles, and diaphragm. So trachea is seen on an X-ray chest as a black shadow. We call radiolucent shadow in the center part of vertebra. We'll be showing you an X-ray following this particular slide. And trachea is central. If rotation is there, trachea will appear shifted to one side. This you will have to correct it so that you do not misinterpret push or a pull shift of a trachea. In a normal person, trachea appears little towards right side, but whenever it is grossly to the right side or grossly to the left side, it is either because of push or a pull. Push is because of increased pressure on one side of mediastinum. That is, mediastinum is also shifted to the opposite side. In conditions, lung condition like a big mass, bronchogenic carcinoma, major causes are because of a pleural conditions, massive pleural effusion, tension pneumothorax, and mesothelioma. In a fluid, it can be exudate, it can be transudate, it can be blood, it can be pus. So if it is pus, we call empyema or we call pyothorax. If it is blood, hemothorax. If it is an exudate, we usually use the common word like effusion. And if it is pure transudate, we usually use the word what we call as a hydrothorax. Rare condition like urothorax, chylothorax, or combination like air and fluid, hydropneumothorax, hemopneumothorax, etc. These are all the conditions which will produce positive pressure on one side, which will push all the structure to the opposite side. That we call as push. Lung condition to produce a push are very rare, not so common, because you require a big mass to produce a push. While pull is because of lung condition like collapse or fibrosis in the lung. While in a pleural condition, fibrosis and thickened pleura can pull the mediastinum to the same side. Now sometimes you will come across trachea position may be abnormal, but mediastinum is still there in a normal condition. And this particular can happen because of chest deformities like scoliosis, kyphosis, gibbus, hemivertebra, etc. or apical conditions which will pull or push trachea, but mediastinum may not be shifted at all. Classical example in apical lobe which will push is what we call as a apical lobe tumors, and classical example of that is we call as a Pancoast tumor. We call apical lobe tumor that will push to the opposite side. Trachea will be pushed, but mediastinum may not be shifted much. While the pull condition in the apical lobe is collapse, fibrosis, and thickened pleura. So this will be the condition. So in a push, there will be only one condition we call as a apical lobe bronchogenic carcinoma, and we call that as a Pancoast tumor. So these are the conditions. Keeping all this in mind, now you will have to find out what is the probable etiology. So if you look here, the trachea appears little towards the right side, little towards the right side. So this is trachea which will be seen as a black shadow, or we call as a radiolucent area. And at this level you will see a two shadow, that is a bifurcation of a trachea into right bronchus and left bronchus, and this angle is called carina. So carina angle is sometimes very useful to identify some of the conditions. This carina angle will become more obtuse. This is acute, but it will become more obtuse because of lymph nodes or because of left atrial enlargement. So just have a look at that particular carina angle. So it may be helpful in some conditions. Now you can see here the trachea is towards the left side. Is pushed from left side towards the right side. This is because of push, and there is some structure here. This is thyroid enlargement, or we call retrosternal thyroid gland. Now here if you see, the trachea is pushed towards right side. This is because of radiolucency, which is seen here, and even mediastinum is also shifted. Here if you see, the mediastinum is not much shifted. So this is because of a tension pneumothorax. Tension pneumothorax. So entire trachea and along with that the mediastinum is also shifted. Well, if you look here, the trachea is like this, and there is an haziness in entire hemithorax. So this is pleural effusion, which is pushing the trachea to the opposite side. So in all these conditions, the trachea is shifted to the right. Here it is because of push, because of something is there in the superior mediastinum. Classical example of that is thyroid enlargement. Here it is because of a pneumothorax, which we call as a tension pneumothorax. And here this is because of a massive pleural effusion. So trachea can be pushed to opposite side because of these three conditions. This is one example. So trachea deviation can happen because of ipsilateral pull, collapse, fibrosis and thickened pleura, while push is because of mass, pleural effusion, pneumothorax, etc. We have already given you in detail in the previous slide. During push, if the structure which is pushing produces more pressure, there can be narrowing of the trachea, which you can see here. If you look at this particular trachea, there is a little impression here. This is little narrowing of the trachea. So this can happen because of a little solid structure like goiter or a mediastinal mass. Carina angle can be widened because of left atrial enlargement or subcarinal lymphadenopathy, and this lymphadenopathy can be very common because of tuberculosis, lymphomas, classical example Hodgkin's, or can be because of secondary metastasis. So you can have a lymph node enlargements in a subcarinal angle, and that can produce increase in the angle. So normal carinal angle is approximately 60 degree. If it becomes more than 75, it is in favor of an increase in carina angle, or we call splayed carina angle. And one cardiac condition which is responsible is left atrial enlargement. So do remember that. By and large, the bronchi can be narrowed because of again a pressure from outside. Very commonly again lymph node enlargement, primary malignancy like bronchogenic carcinoma, or secondary metastasis. Bronchovascular marking may be elevated or depressed because of the collapse, fibrosis, lobectomy, etc. So depending upon which lobe is being involved. If apical lobe is involved, it will be elevated. If lower lobe is involved, it will be depressed or it will be pulled down. So depending upon which lobe is collapse, fibrosis, thickened pleura or lobectomy is being done, it will be either pulled up or pulled down. So that will be there, which will be happening to the bronchi, and that will also shift what we call as a bronchovascular marking. Hilum will be pulled up or pulled down along with collapse, lobectomy and fibrosis. Now here you can see that this radiolucent area, and through that you can see the spinous process. This is trachea, which is always central. It may be slightly towards the right side. Otherwise it is okay. And you can see this is a Carina angle. This is a Carina angle. So you look at the Carina angle. Can you see this? This is a Carina angle. This is drawn here. So this is trachea, this is bifurcation. This is a Carina angle. And if Carina angle splayed out, or we call widen, that will be because of a left atrial enlargement or lymphadenopathy, most common. So this is trachea. You can see it is little towards the right side, little towards, and this is a Carina angle. This is a left bronchus, this is a right bronchus, and you can see this is an angle, and it is usually acute angle. Now, sometimes you can see a breast shadow overlapping the radiolucency, and this particular may misinterpreted as a radio opaque shadow in the lung, and sometimes misdiagnosed as collapse, consolidation, mass, etc. So do pay attention to that and not to misinterpret as a lung pathophysiology. Now if you see here, this is cardiomegaly, and with that cardiomegaly, if you see the angle, it is wider, and this is because of a left atrial enlargement. Splayed carina due to left atrial enlargement, and this is cardiomyopathy, and sometimes it can be because of lymphadenopathy. The common cause is lymphadenopathy rather than left atrial enlargement. So that will be there. And in a lateral view, you can see a big cardiomegaly, and left atrium is encroaching posteriorly. So this is left atrial enlargement. This is Carina angle. Carina angle is wider. Now if you look again, this is trachea little towards the right side. This is Carina angle. This is Carina angle. These are vertebras. You can see the spinous process of vertebra. These are the clavicle. If you look properly, this clavicle is little away. There is a little mal rotation of person. This is scapula here. So you can have a sometime misinterpretation because of mal rotation also. So there is a mal rotation. So mal rotation can also give you little misinterpretation of a shift of a trachea. Now again, if you see here, can you see something? This is endotracheal tube. Now because of endotracheal tube, it can appear little shifted towards one side. So even that can give a false impression of a shift of a trachea. Now if you see here, the trachea is here, and this is Carina angle, and there is a homogeneous opacity. Now if this is a homogeneous, it means there is some pathology on the left side. If this particular pathology is having a positive pressure, say like fluid, pus, blood, or maybe chyle, or maybe hydrothorax, etc., that will push the trachea to the opposite side. Trachea is not pushed. If it was a collapse, it will pull the trachea to the same side. That has also not happened. So trachea is almost nearly central. So this condition is neither pushing or not pulling. There is one condition we call as a consolidation, which will not shift the trachea. So do keep it in mind. If you see sometime like this, one of the possibility is consolidation. Now, if you look properly here, you cannot identify the dome of diaphragm. Dome of diaphragm you cannot identify. Costophrenic angle is also not identifiable. And if trachea is seen, you can see it is little towards the left side. Little towards the left side. And you can see this right, it has to be here somewhere, like this. But instead of that, it is little towards the left side. So it will fit with what we call as a left lobe collapse. Now if you see this, there is a haziness here. Dome of diaphragm you cannot identify. Left border of the heart also you cannot identify. This lower part of the heart you cannot identify. Costophrenic angle of the left side is also not identifiable. It is filled with opaque shadow, and this is a curvature which is being seen. We call crescent mark. So this is in favor of what we call as a left side pleural effusion. But it is not adequate enough to push the trachea grossly to the opposite side, because for a push of mediastinum with the trachea you require a massive pleural effusion. Now if you look here, now in this particular, compare this and this is radiolucent, and you can see this is the border of the lung, this is a collapsed lung. Now this collapsed lung will produce negative pressure and this will produce positive pressure. Here the positive pressure is more than this negative pressure, so that will push the trachea to the opposite side, and you can see the trachea is pushed to the opposite side, and even mediastinum is shifted towards the opposite side, that is to the right side. This is right, this is left side, so this is left side pneumothorax. And if there is a grossly shift of these structures, we'll use the word tension pneumothorax. So right, clear? Trachea is to the right side, this is because of push. Collapse will always produce pull, but the collapse is secondary due to increased positive pressure in the left pleural cavity, and that's why there is a push. So there is a slight push towards the left side. Now if you look here on both the sides, there is a little radiolucency, and if you look at the dome of the diaphragm, this dome of the diaphragm and this dome of the diaphragm almost as an equal level. Ideally the right dome of diaphragm has to be little higher as compared to the left dome. It has to be at least one space higher. So bilaterally, and almost the curvature is lost. They are almost nearly flat. So this will be because of increased volume of a lung, and that we call as emphysema, or we can call that as COPD. And this is trachea is pulled to the side, and there is a radiolucency on the opposite side. This is compensatory emphysema. Sorry, I should have kept here. These are the two which is showing you an emphysematous changes. Dome of diaphragm is pushed down, and here it is pulled. So this particular lung is now not aerated, so this undergoes compensatory emphysema. This is not pneumothorax. This is not pneumothorax. Now if you look here, again this trachea is pulled towards the affected side. Entire right hemithorax is radiopaque, and trachea is towards the same side. So this is right side collapse. Clear? Now if you look here properly, see this trachea. Trachea is towards this side. Mediastinum is pushed to this side. So what is the possibility? And here, if you see the haziness is here, there is no shift of mediastinum. So if this is an haziness and there is no shift of mediastinum, two possibility. And if you see the trachea is little towards the left side, so in that condition, collapse of the lung, and here also collapse not likely because the trachea is towards right side, so collapse is possible. But at the same time, if you look at this, mediastinum is shifted to opposite side. So because the mediastinum is shifted to opposite side, the push is more likely. So push is because of a fluid mass, two possibilities. So always look at both the things together, trachea and mediastinum. Here mediastinum is grossly shifted towards the left side. You can see it is shifted towards the left side. So do think of a push. So this can be massive pleural effusion, and this will be collapse of the lung. Collapse of the lung. So this is atelectasis, and this is massive pleural effusion. Okay, shift of mediastinum away from this hemithorax, and this is mediastinum is shifted towards this side, so it is a collapse, or another word we call as atelectasis. Now here already it is mentioned. Now if you look properly, this is trachea, little towards this side, and you see haziness with a sharp margin. Along with that, if you look properly, this bronchovascular marking is little bit pulled upward. and even the diaphragm is little higher up. So whenever there is a collapse, you will see the trachea is pulled towards that side. If it is in the upper lobe, hilum will be pulled up. If it is in the lower lobe, hilum will be pulled down. Trachea will be always pulled up. Diaphragm will be always pulled up. So diaphragm, hilum and trachea. Look at all the three things. Here trachea is towards this side, hilum is pulled up, diaphragm is also pulled up. So this is that particular thing. And if you look here, this is little amount of thickening of the pleura, right? And if you look here, right lower lobe collapse. Now if you look, trachea is towards this side. And if you look this hilum, this is pulled little bit down. You cannot make out diaphragm here. So we call Silhouette's sign with diaphragm. Right border of the heart also you cannot make out. And there is a sharp margin here. So this is because of the right lower lobe collapse. And mediastinum is little bit towards this side. And you can see the breast shadow. This is not because of breast shadow. So try to identify such conditions. So in a collapse, three things will happen. Shrinkage of a lung. Trachea will be pulled towards the same side. Hilum, depending upon the lobe. If it is an apical lobe, pulled up. If it is a lower lobe, pulled down. And diaphragm will be pulled up. But here, in a lower lobe, because the lung will form a silhouette along with the diaphragm and right border of the heart, and also the angle, you will not be able to identify the costophrenic angle, right border of the heart, diaphragm because of the right lower lobe collapse, or if it is on the left side, left lower lobe collapse. Now if you look here, trachea is little towards this side. Mediastinum is almost in the center. So trachea is deviated to the right side. And there is a tumor here. There is a big mass here. And you can see it is forming what we call as a overlapping with cardiac shadow. This is a right border of the heart. And you can clearly see the right border of the heart. So it is either anterior or posterior. So when you take a lateral view, you can see this is a tumor. And here it appears this side. Now in a lateral view, you will be able to identify that it is arising from posterior chest wall. So this is the most important part, and this is the indication of lateral view. And here, as this is on the right side, you will ask for right lateral, not left lateral, so that you can identify that tumor much better than in a left lateral view. Right lateral view means the X-ray plate in the right side and you are taking a lateral view. Now here you can see trachea is towards the affected side. There is a uniform haziness here, and there is a shift of trachea here. And if you look at the mediastinum also, mediastinum is also shifted towards the same side. You cannot identify the diaphragm, you cannot identify the costophrenic angle. So there is a shrinkage of a lung volume. Trachea is pulled, mediastinum is pulled. We can't identify the diaphragm and we can't identify the costophrenic angle. So this is complete right lung collapse, or we call atelectasis. All those arguments should be done. Now if you look here, opposite of that, there is a uniform haziness here. There is a push of trachea, push of mediastinum. I cannot see hilum clearly. Even in this also I cannot see hilum. So hilum and diaphragm I cannot comment in this particular. And costophrenic angle. Same thing will be here. I cannot see hilum, I cannot see costophrenic angle, I cannot see the diaphragm. What I can see, uniform haziness and shift of mediastinum and shift of trachea. So there is a push. So this has to be either a big mass or pleural effusion. In a big mass, you will be able to see the costophrenic angle, but in a fluid, you will not be able to see the costophrenic angle. So that's the reason why this is in favor of fluid. So we'll say large or massive right side pleural effusion. Now here if you see, trachea is in the center, no shift of trachea, no shift of mediastinum. There is a uniform haziness in entire lung. Now, whenever you see no shift of mediastinum and a big opacity on one side, and through that also you can see the costophrenic angle. You can see costophrenic angle. You can see the diaphragm, and in this you can see this black lines. This is called air bronchogram. So, if we see a air bronchogram clearly, this is pneumonia, or we call consolidation. So, in consolidation you will see a air bronchogram. You will see no shift of trachea. Diaphragm and costophrenic angle may be identifiable, clear. So, this will be in favor of what we call as consolidation, complete left upper lobe consolidation. Now, here there is a uniform haziness. Entire mediastinum is on this side. I cannot identify the diaphragm, I cannot identify the angle. So, this has to be collapse, fibrosis, and don't forget there is one more condition we call pneumonectomy, means lung is removed. And to confirm that, if you see this ribs, now this rib is missing. So, rib has been resected out. So, this is a uniform haziness and there is a volume loss and trachea is grossly to this side. And if you see a rib removal, so some surgery has been done and probably the surgery was pneumonectomy. So, this is a left side pneumonectomy. So, always whenever you want to rule out in a pneumonectomy, look for what we call as a removal of rib. The rib is removed here. So, you can see there is a big gap here. So, this is pneumonectomy. So, differential diagnosis from collapse. In collapse, you will never have a rib absent or removed. So, look that fifth rib has been resected. So, this is pneumonectomy. Now, again if you look here, what is it? Uniform haziness. So, three possibility: atelectasis, pneumonia, or effusion. Or one more you should put is pneumonectomy. Fourth one. Trachea is towards this side. So, atelectasis or pneumonectomy. I can't see any ribs. Diaphragm I cannot make out. I cannot make out costophrenic angle. I cannot make out hilum. So, this will be in favor of atelectasis. Here, I can see trachea central, bronchovascular markings, air bronchograms, angle is seen, diaphragm is seen, left border just you can see there is little amount of Silhouette sign. So, this will go in favor of pneumonia. You try to argue out on your own and try to make a proper points why it is pneumonia. See here, uniform haziness, mediastinal shift, trachea shift, so push. So, push is because of effusion. So, it may be because of fluid or because of mass. Such massive is usually fluid. So, fluid can be hydro, effusion, hemo, empyema, very rare condition, uro, chylo. So, try to look for that. So, this is massive pleural effusion on left side. There is one sign called cervicothoracic sign. So, I will just explain directly here. Now, in a normal person, if you look here, if there is a mass arising from the mediastinum, that superior mediastinum stops at the level of clavicle. So, if you see any time a shadow which is above the clavicle, then we call that as a cervicothoracic sign. So, if you see there is an opaque shadow here and this is close to mediastinum and it is extending above the clavicle, this is the clavicle. So, it is above the clavicle level, and when it is extending above the level of clavicle, it has to be extending into upper part, that is neck. That is why we call cervico, and it is also in the thoracic region, cervicothoracic sign, and such things is usually thyroid gland. So, this is either a thyroid gland extending from the neck right into retrosternal region. So, this is a big thyroid gland, we call it a thyroid goiter extending into posterior mediastinum, or a posterior mediastinal mass may be extending above and extending behind the trachea. So these are the two possibilities. So if you see here, this is a big mass and it is extending here, right till, and it is parallel to the trachea. This is mediastinum. Superior mediastinum does not extend above this clavicle. You can see here, this is a space. So when it is extending up, this is called cervicothoracic sign. And this has to be either posterior mass or mass from neck. As this is very much low, this is more likely to be a mass. And you can see here, this is a mass which is extending right up to here. So this is the posterior mediastinal mass. Now we are going to talk regarding a diaphragm. Whenever you look at the diaphragm, we look many things together. We look level, at what level it is, comparing the anterior end 6th rib and posterior end 9th or 10th rib in deep inspiration. Right diaphragm is always higher as compared to the left diaphragm. Look at the curvature, shape of the diaphragm. Cardiophrenic angle, costophrenic angle. Cardiophrenic angle, costophrenic angle. Elevated or pushed down or pulled down. These are the things which we try to look at. So we always look at the right dome of diaphragm which is higher by at least 1 to 3 centimeter than left side. We call one space or two space. And on inspiration, if you calculate the anterior rib ends, then 6th rib and posterior up to 10th rib. Look at the costophrenic angle. Look for air under the diaphragm. Shape of the diaphragm. And if diaphragm is identifiable or not. If a diaphragm you cannot identify, good number of time it is a lower lobe pathophysiology which will produce Hill-Hortis sign. And if a diaphragm is elevated or tinted because of pull from above or push from below. So try to look for all these conditions. We'll be now showing you all those different conditions. So this is the dome of diaphragm. Right dome is little higher as compared to left dome. And below the left dome you will see a stomach bubble. Here this is a cardiophrenic angles and this is costophrenic angle. So you look for all those things. One rib space higher up. And this is the shape. So this is a curvature, nice curvature. And this has to be 1.5 centimeter, more than 1.5 centimeter curvature. And if this becomes flatter, we'll show you some of the conditions. Now if you look here at the anterior rib, it will be a 6th rib. And if you look at the posterior rib, it will be a 9th or 10th rib. So we'll be looking at all those things. Look at the case bubble on the left side, that is a gastric bubble. And if you see a black shadow below the dome of diaphragm, it is because of a pneumoperitoneum. Now if you see here, both the diaphragms are flattened out. Both are almost at the same level. So this is because of push from above. This will be happening in a case of an emphysema. You can see this right dome of diaphragm is little higher as compared to the left dome of diaphragm. Little higher as compared to left dome of diaphragm in a lateral field. So if there is a collapse, pneumonectomy, lobectomy, the diaphragm will be pulled up and diaphragm will be pushed down. If there is anything which is pushing it down, like increase in the lung volume, emphysema, COPD, it will push down. While it will be pulled up, atelectasis, or we call collapse, lobectomy, pneumonectomy and hypoplasia. But in this condition, because it produces uniform haziness, you may not be able to differentiate the dome of diaphragm very clearly. So always try to look for that particular thing. And in all this condition, trachea will be pulled towards the site of damage. Towards the site of damage. Always try to look for those findings. And if the diaphragm is pushed from below upwards, something is there in the abdomen which is pushing up. Obesity, tense ascites, pregnancy, and don't forget liver. So in a case of a liver enlargement, massive liver enlargement, subphrenic abscess, etc., diaphragm can be pushed up. So look at all the condition. Diaphragm pathology which can produce shape of the diaphragm change like phrenic nerve palsy, or we call diaphragm palsy. So or there is a diaphragmatic eventration. So in that condition you can have a diaphragm being elevated and shape will change. So elevated diaphragm, technical, obesity, pregnancy, diaphragm pathology like phrenic nerve palsy, or in a case of an abdominal surgery, in a respiratory condition, pulled up, fibrosis, collapse, pneumonectomy, those conditions, and abdominal condition like massive ascites, a big mass pushing up. Diaphragm will be elevated, one side diaphragm will be elevated. If there is atelectasis or collapse on one side, lobectomy, pneumonectomy, or pulmonary hypoplasia. Diaphragm unilateral palsy, phrenic nerve palsy, eventration, or below the diaphragm, liver, subphrenic abscess, stomach if it is distended like pyloric stenosis, etc. In all those conditions, diaphragm level may be elevated, may be pushed from below. Now some of the X-rays. Now this is called Morgagni hernia. So you will have a radio opacity seen here, and this will be on the right side, usually unilateral, and it is more often on the right side 90% of the time. This is another type of a hernia. You can see a big hernia here, and this is because very common on the left side. It is very common on the left side, and it is because of the stomach. So try to identify this. This is not a mass in the lung. This is because of the hernia. You will have to identify, and this you will be able to identify much better if you look in the lateral picture. So always whenever you are in doubt, ask for a lateral picture. Here you would ask for a right lateral because this is on the right side. Here this is on the left side, so ask for a left lateral view. Again you can see that here in this particular, in this mediastinal cardiac shadow, you see some other shadow, and there is a horizontal fluid level. There is a fluid level. So whenever you see such things, always suspect hiatus hernia. Hiatus hernia. So that is a classical thing. And if you take a lateral picture, you will see that there is an hiatus hernia which is seen behind the heart shadow. So that particular is a air filled mass, and that is because of hiatus hernia. You can see this is a gas under the diaphragm, right? So this is pneumoperitoneum, and this particular here also there is a little gas under the diaphragm. So this is a liver margin, hepatic margin, and this is a gas under diaphragm. This is usually because of perforation of hollow viscus, like stomach, duodenum, small intestine, large intestine. So they will produce pneumoperitoneum. Also pneumoperitoneum can be following a procedures like Rubin test, or immediately after a major surgery on an abdomen, or even after what we call as a laparoscopic surgery. When you do that, you will find little amount of air below the dome of diaphragm, and that will be best identifiable if you look in an erect posture. Whenever you see a radiolucency below the diaphragm, and if you see this rugged folds, or we call haustration, that is in favor of what we call as Chilaiditi syndrome. Chilaiditi syndrome. That is because the here hepatic flexor has come between the liver and diaphragm. So hepatic flexor has come between the diaphragm and liver, and that produces this particular finding called Chilaiditi. It is pronounced as a Chilaiditi syndrome. Now look at the shape, level, pushed up, pulled down, etc. together. So whenever you look at all those things together, Simultaneously look at the costophrenic angle. Here this is a breast shadow. This is a stomach bubble. This is a costophrenic angle. This is a cardiophrenic angle. Look at all together. Now this is a costophrenic angle. This is sharp and acute. And you can see the left dome of diaphragm is little lower as compared to right dome of diaphragm. At least we say 1.5 centimeter, maximum 3 centimeter. And this is a lateral view. This is a lateral view. This is a right dome of diaphragm. This is a left dome of diaphragm. This one is a left dome. This is a right dome. This is a right dome. And this is a left dome. Clear? Now, diaphragm margin cannot be demarcated if any radio opacity is there in a lower lobes, either on the right side or on the left side. Pleural effusion, mass, lower lobe collapse, hydropneumothorax, lobectomy, consolidation, or because of breast shadow. So these are the conditions which will produce difficulty in identifying the shape of the diaphragm and margin of the diaphragm, and also cardiophrenic angle and costophrenic angle will become difficult to identify if these are the conditions, because all this condition produces radio opacity. And if it is in the lower lobes, pleural effusion will always produce in the lower side. Hydropneumothorax, in a erect posture, you will get fluid settle down at the bottom. So in that also it will be on the lower side. Breast shadow may produce disturbances in identifying the margin of the diaphragm. So all these conditions you should keep it in mind while describing the shape of the diaphragm, costophrenic angle and cardiophrenic angle. So always look at that. See here, you can clearly make out. Here, because of the breast tissue, sometimes you can get a false impression. So these are all the conditions which we have told you before also. The diaphragm will be tented up because of fibrosis of pleura, will be pushed down because of pneumoperitoneum. Pneumoperitoneum will push up. Abnormal elevation because of pull up or push up. Pull up like collapse, fibrosis, pneumonectomy, etc. While push up because of liver abscess, subphrenic abscess, pneumoperitoneum, subdiaphragmatic effusion, even because of pregnancy, bilateral, both dome of diaphragm will be pushed up, pregnancy, obesity, massive pleural, massive ascites, a big mass like ovarian tumors, teratomas, etc. in abdomen, and pushed down in case of bilaterally it will be pushed down in emphysema, COPD, and unilaterally pushed down in case of pneumothorax. Margin should be sharp. All these margins should be sharp. Margin will be irregular or tented. Tenting it is called. It is because of a pull usually, and that is very commonly because of fibrosis. So try to look for all those things. These are different shapes of diaphragm being described. This is scalloping. This is muscle slip. This is called hump. This is called eventration, etc. So try to look for those things. You can see slight elevation here. And in a barium bolus, you can see the diaphragm. This is another diaphragm. No gas bubble in the fundus. And that is because of what we call as gastric carcinoma. Achalasia cardia, two common conditions. You can see there is a free gas under the diaphragm, pneumoperitoneum. You can see there is a gas above the fundus shadow, pneumoperitoneum. Now if you look here, what you can see, in this particular, you can see clearly the right dome of diaphragm, left dome of diaphragm, gastric bubble, cardiophrenic angle is seen, costophrenic angle is seen, no shift of trachea, bilaterally almost what we call as a lung markings or bronchovascular markings are clear. And if you look in this, see this dome of diaphragm. This is pushed down. If you calculate the posterior, this is first, second, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And almost both dome of diaphragm are at equal level. So this is emphysema. Now again, if you look here, both dome of diaphragm identical. You see here, both dome of diaphragm. Push down, emphysema, hyperinflation. This is, you cannot identify very clearly what is there in a lung tissue. This is called vanishing lung, vanishing lung. And you can see here in a heart shadow, there is one wire which is going and there is a cable. And this is connected to this. This is a pacemaker. This is a ventricular pacing. Only single wire is there. This is a ventricular pacing. Now the diaphragm, when it is elevated up, you always try to think in terms of a pathology above the diaphragm and pathology below. If lung volume is reduced, classical example, atelectasis, pneumonectomy, fibrosis. These three common. So that will be, you first try to look at those conditions. In those conditions, along with this, there will be shift of trachea. If trachea is not shifted, then always think of condition below the diaphragm, like obesity, ascites, pregnancy, big mass, pneumoperitoneum, etc. Try to look for those. And if those are ruled out, then look for diaphragmatic paralysis. So look for all these conditions. You can see here, this diaphragm is here. This diaphragm is elevated, so much high. Trachea is central. So this lung condition is out. Pull mechanism is out. So there is something pushing from below. This is eventration of left hemidiaphragm. Here, it is on the right side. You can see here. Trachea is little towards this side. But there is a air below the diaphragm. So diaphragm is pushed up. Here also it is pushed up. So try to look for that. Here again you can see diaphragm is pushed up because something is below. This is eventration of diaphragm. You can see a lot of coils of intestine has been eventrated, and because of that there is a shift of mediastinum little towards opposite side. It is not because of collapse on this side. So always try to identify that eventration of left hemidiaphragm. Now here if you see, I can't make out where is the diaphragm, but I can see some shadow here. So diaphragm has to be here only, and trachea is here, little towards this side. So you call that as Silhouette sign. I cannot make out the left border of heart. I cannot make out diaphragm. I cannot make out the cardiophrenic angle, costophrenic angle, etc. So try to look for that. Now we will be showing you different angles, and this angle will be obliterated because of pleural effusion. You can see here there is a shift of mediastinum to opposite side, uniform haziness, we call crescent sign. Angle is not seen, diaphragm I cannot make out, right border of the heart I cannot make out. This is Silhouette sign, we can call homogeneous density, meniscus sign, we call meniscus sign, this shape, loss of cardiophrenic angle, costophrenic angle, diaphragm I cannot make out, right side heart border I cannot, so we call Silhouette I cannot make out. Think of pleural effusion, and there is a shift to the opposite side. So this is adequate quantity. We call massive pleural effusion. See, this is a mild. There is no shift of trachea, but left border I cannot make out. Diaphragm I cannot make out. Costophrenic angle, cardiophrenic angle I cannot make out, and border also I cannot make out. So this is a Silhouette sign. Left side pleural effusion, but it is not massive to push the mediastinum. And if in this case the diaphragm is elevated, I cannot find out the cause of this elevated diaphragm. I'll take the decubitus view. So this is on the right side, so I'll take right lateral view in decubitus position. So that fluid, if it is there, will separate out, and I'll see that fluid has come out here, which was not seen in this particular picture. So this is subdiaphragmatic effusion. See, this fluid has pushed trachea to the opposite side, mediastinum to the opposite side. Large pleural effusion. Now here, I can see the diaphragm partially. This side I cannot make out. Right border I can see. This angle I cannot make out. But the shape of this is not crescent sign. It is not like this. But the shape is this way. And this is parallel to costal margin. So this is loculated pleural effusion. So homogeneous density, loculated, loss of cardiophrenic angle, this angle, and loss of lateral portion of diaphragmatic Silhouette, this lateral portion. So this will be loculated pleural effusion. Again you can see here, nice shape, and see this angle is gone. So this is loculated, or we another word utilize, encapsulated or encysted. So encysted pleural effusion, encapsulated or loculated pleural effusion. This is in a fissure. This is loculated or encysted or encapsulated, and this sometimes is also described as pseudotumors, pseudotumors or vanishing tumors or phantom tumors. They are described as, because this will disappear, and this can happen in congestive heart failure, hypoproteinemia, renal insufficiency that will produce again hypoproteinemia, and once in a while pleural effusion. You can have this. Again you can see trachea is towards this side, uniform haziness. I cannot make out the diaphragm, so there is a Silhouette sign with cardiac Silhouette as well as diaphragm. I cannot make out the costophrenic angle. Trachea is towards the same side, mediastinum is towards the same side, so this has to be a collapse, or we call atelectasis. This I have already shown you before. I have explained you everything. Diaphragm I can see, costophrenic angle I can see. There is a little Silhouette sign with left border of the heart, air bronchogram, no shift of trachea. So this is left upper lobe consolidation or pneumonia. You can see clearly the air bronchograms. Arrow has been shown. This is consolidation. Here the fifth rib is missing, pneumonectomy. We have explained you before. So you try to differentiate these conditions. Is that clear? What is this? Arrow. I am showing you already arrow. Yes. Pneumoperitoneum. Again, pneumoperitoneum. And if you see here, you can see hostration. This will be Chilaiditi sign. This is pneumoperitoneum. Chilaiditi sign. Pneumoperitoneum. This is in decubitus position. The air will come on the top. Is that clear? Ideally, base picture is erect posture. In decubitus posture, always take in a left lateral decubitus, or take it in a right lateral decubitus. Pneumoperitoneum. You can see there is something here, and in a lateral view you can identify this, that there is a big tumor here, big mass, and it is close to the pericardium. So this is a pericardial mass, and this is called pericardial cyst. Costophrenic angle, both are sharp and acute. So costophrenic angle will be obliterated in pleural effusion, very rarely in case of atelectasis, and particularly if it is a lower lobe, it will be obliterated. So it will be seen clearly if there is a consolidation, if there is a mass, good number of time in a thickened pleura, fibrosis, and in a case of a pneumothorax, sometimes you get a deep sulcus sign. So these are the costophrenic angles. So we are showing you now what are the costophrenic angle. Clearly you can see the costophrenic angle in an emphysema. In an emphysema, because the diaphragm is pushed down, this costophrenic angle will become blunted, and that will be on both the sides because both the diaphragm are pushed down. So blunting of the costophrenic angle will occur in case of an emphysema because of pushing down. It is obliterated in atelectasis. Consolidation, you will be able to make out. In a pleural effusion, you will not be able to make out the costophrenic angle. In lower lobe collapse also, sometimes you cannot make out the costophrenic angle. Particularly if it is in a lower lobe collapse, almost it is not identifiable. Here you can see clearly. Here you can't see. This is blunted costophrenic angle. So this is because of the fluid in a pleural cavity. We call pleural effusion. Here you can see that this angle you cannot make out. You can make out clearly. So there is some haziness here. You can see this part of a diaphragm. Right margin of the heart is seen. This is because of fluid in the pleural cavity. We call pleural effusion. Same. This is called crescent sign. Massive pleural effusion, pushing the mediastinum to opposite side. Angle is obliterated. Again, massive pleural effusion, angle is obliterated. Mediastinum and trachea shifted to opposite side. Now we are showing you some condition where the angle will be seen and the shape of that angle will change. That is in case of a pneumothorax. So here there is a partial pneumothorax. Arrow has been shown. Beyond this, there is no bronchovascular marking. So there are no vascular marking. We'll show you in another picture. Here, you can see the angle is going down, deep down. And see here the costophrenic angle. This is described as a deep sulcus sign. We'll be showing you in further X-ray. Can you see this? Going down. See this costophrenic angle. This is called a deep sulcus sign. And here, sometime you can make out the two dome of diaphragm separately. This is a two dome of diaphragm. It is called double diaphragm sign. So you can make out one diaphragm here, second diaphragm here because of air. And that is called double diaphragm sign. And when you see this angle going deep inside, then it is called a deep sulcus sign. You can see this is a collapsed part of the lung border. You see this area, there are vascular marking. Here there are no vascular marking. So this is radiolucency. If you look at this, this is because of a breast tissue. And this is the angle. This is the angle. So this is because of a pneumothorax. So don't mistake this for a consolidation. And so this is right side pneumothorax. You can see a deep sulcus sign. This is left side pneumothorax. There is a tracheostomy tube also seen here. And these are the wires, different wires which are there. So these are electrodes wire. You can see a deep sulcus sign clearly. And this is a collapsed part of the lung. Here you can see little vascular marking. And trachea is little towards the left side. Mediastinum is shifted towards the left side. So whenever there is a pneumothorax, diaphragm will be pushed down, deep sulcus sign, collapse of the lung, trachea to the opposite side, mediastinum to the opposite side, and diaphragm margin will be clearly seen. Clearly seen. And there will be the margin of the collapsed lung. This is margin of the collapsed lung. Here, the collapsed lung which produces the negative pressure is less than positive pressure created by a pneumothorax. That's why there is a shift of mediastinum and shift of trachea. You can see there is a gross shift of mediastinum. This will happen in a tension pneumothorax, and you can see the amount of deep sulcus sign. And see this is a breast border. Clear? Tension pneumothorax. This is gas below the diaphragm. You should be able to differentiate that pneumoperitoneum from that. Now here, if I show here you can see that this is a diaphragm. Now here I cannot make out the diaphragm and cardiac border, the inferior border of the heart. But in this particular, also I cannot make out the inferior border of the heart. This is diaphragm and border of the heart is having the same opacity. But here, I can see this is called continuous diaphragm sign. I can see that this is a cardiac border and this is a diaphragm border. and this is continuous diaphragm sign, and that will happen in a pneumomediastinum. Air will come in the mediastinum, and that air comes in the mediastinum because of two reasons. One, either because of the pneumothorax or because the air coming out from esophagus. So in case of esophageal perforation, you can have a pneumomediastinum. You can see here the diaphragm is seen continuous, and cardiac border also you can identify clearly, the inferior border of the heart. So this is because of the air leak syndrome, or we call pneumomediastinum. Air is leaking out. You can see even the air in the mediastinal shadows. You can see the air in the mediastinal shadows. So this is pneumomediastinum, continuous diaphragm sign. And sometimes you can see the air in the mediastinum. You can see this air in the mediastinum. Around the vessels, around the trachea, around the aorta, etc. You can see sometimes very clearly. Now here, if you look at this particular picture, there is a haziness on the right side. You can't make out the diaphragm, you can't make out the right border of the heart, you can't make out the right costal margin. So you will definitely say that this is either consolidation, collapse, or maybe fluid, maybe mass. Now if in this, if you look at this picture and look at this picture, now in this you can see lot of bronchovascular marking. Now in this, if you look properly here, this is the lung border. This is the lung border. So this is the collapsed lung. And beyond this border, this is the air. So this is air plus fluid, hydropneumothorax. And whenever there is a air plus fluid, it will acquire in an erect posture, horizontal level, which will be extending from the lateral to medial. So whenever you get such, this is hydropneumothorax, and this is a collapsed border of the right lung. Collapsed border of the right lung. So clearly you can make out that this is hydropneumothorax. You can see this is where border of the lung, and this is hydropneumothorax. This is air, this is collapsed lung, and this is a fluid. I can't make out the costophrenic angle, cardiophrenic angle, right border of the heart, diaphragm, I cannot make out. So this is hydropneumothorax. And to identify that, now if I take a right lateral, you can see this is a opacity, which is because of fluid. This is air, this is the border of the lung. Clear? So this is air, pneumo, hydropneumothorax. This may be pure water, maybe exudate, maybe blood, XYZ, but common term we utilize is hydropneumothorax. Again, you can see that. Here you can see it is extending from lateral till medial. In lateral view, extending from anterior till posterior. And here, in a lateral view, decubitus view, and right lateral, because this is on the right side. So take right lateral. Fluid being heavy will come here, and air being light will come between fluid and mediastinum. And this is air, this is fluid. So this is hydropneumo. Again hydropneumo. You can see that hydropneumo. Clear? Loculated. Why it is loculated? Because if you see here, this is extending from here till here. It is not extending right up to here. So this is loculated hydropneumo. Now cardiophrenic angle are usually not of much of importance, but still you should know something. In case of cardiomegaly, pericardial effusion, this angle will be changed. And in a case of a lung silhouette, particularly lower lobe, consolidation, collapse, mass, fibrosis, pleural effusion, mesothelioma, etc., you will not be able to make out cardiophrenic angle clearly. So these are some of the conditions. One, X-ray, which we have already shown you before. I cannot make out the cardiophrenic angle clear. This is because of the pericardial cyst. And in a case of a cardiac silhouette also, you will not be able to make out the cardiophrenic angle clearly if it is a right lower lobe pathophysiology or left lower lobe pathophysiology. In those conditions, you will not be able to make out, like collapse, consolidation, fibrosis, thickened pleura, etc., which produces opacity. So this is atelectasis. This is again atelectasis. You will not be able to make out. This is atelectasis. This is massive pleural effusion. You will not be able to make out. This is right lower lobe collapse. Again, you will not be able to make out. Don't get surprised if you see such X-rays. This is not because the cockroach has encroached into the chest. This is not because the elephant has entered into the chest. So try to look for, these are false images which you can, it looks like those particular shape. So try to look for those things. Here I end my lecture. We'll see you in next lecture.